Hello everybody, it is me, Real American Politics, here today with a new video. And today, we're going to take a look at each of the battleground states' main bellwethers. Now, some of these states, they're not complete toss-ups or battlegrounds, right? But they are bellwethers that perfectly align with the state, so I decided to make them into, well, more competitive. A state like Texas would be one of those states that really isn't going to be a toss-up, but there is a big bellwether there that whoever wins this bellwether will win the state. So we have many states to go over. So first of all, we're going to start in the great state of North Carolina. And the main bellwether for the state of North Carolina is Lenoir County. Now, this is a fairly small county, but you notice how it's perfectly aligned with how big Trump won the state and the margin he won Lenoir County. He won the state by 3.6. He won Lenoir County by 3.7. And it perfectly lines up. It's not the biggest county in the world, but this is a perfect indicator how much someone's going to win the state by. Now, again, this is a fairly small county, but it is a good indicator for how Trump's doing in the more rural part of the state. This part of the state right here, which is more so his base. So also the western part of the state. This is a good indicator to see how his base is doing. Is he doing better in places like Pitt County, Edgecombe, Bertie, Hertford, Besquot, and Washington? These are the counties that, if Trump does better in Lenoir County, he's going to do a lot better in these counties up here. So this is the bellwether for North Carolina. I highly doubt Biden wins it. Personally, I don't think Biden's going to win North Carolina. I think Trump's going to win the state by 4.5. He's going to do a little bit better, I think. So the next state we're going to talk about is the great state of Florida. Now, everybody would instantly go to Pinellas County, Pinellas County, Pinellas County. But there is a slight issue with that. It may go to Biden this cycle, but not be a bellwether. So, Pinellas is still a decent bellwether to determine who wins the state. I mean, Trump won Pinellas by 1.1%. He won the state by 1.2%. But there is a second, I guess you could say, bellwether that really I would say focus more on, and that is of St. Lucie. Now, the margins are not perfect. He won St. Lucie by 2.4. Donald Trump did. And he won the state by 1.2. But it is the closest thing you could get to a, I guess you say, a good bellwether that's probably going to determine the state more. This is more aligned with what Trump's base is, like, you know, the more rural part of Florida. Like, it's, I don't know how you could say it, but pretty much in a nutshell, St. Lucie is pretty much more so of, like, Exurban, Tampa Bay, and more so of the Panhandle than it is of Palm Beach and Hillsborough. But, again, it's not the best bellwether. You could say that Pinellas, but I'm just saying there's a secondary bellwether, which is St. Lucie, and it's the closest thing to a secondary bellwether you got. And remember, Obama won it, and he won the state. So it is a decent bellwether. Not the best, but, you know, it's the closest you could get to a secondary bellwether in the state of Florida. Like, again, Pinellas could go blue, and Biden's probably still loses the state. It's just one of those counties where it's kind of trending both ways, I guess. There's parts of it that's trending Republican, there's parts that's trending Democrat. But enough of that. So the next state is going to be the great state of Texas, and there's only one county for this. It's obvious, Tarrant County. This is where Fort Worth is, right next to Dallas, and pretty much it lines up perfectly on how much a person wins the state by. Trump won it by 8.6. He won the state by 9. That's close enough. And really, if Biden was truly close in Texas, he would be campaigning heavily in Tarrant County, heavily in Nueces County, and a lot in the suburbs of Houston and of Austin. But he isn't. He's not touching Texas, and he's canceling ad buys to Texas. So really, he's not going to win Texas, and Tarrant County is the closest thing to a bellwether, and it's quite interesting to see which way it goes. We have a chance to see if it was a fluke that it trended more Democrat in 2016, or if it's a slow trend like Texas is. It may be a fluke, who knows, but I personally think it might be a little bit of a fluke in Texas. I think Trump wins the state by a little bit wider margin, especially with the Hispanic appeal. He has more so than he did in 2016. And yeah. So the next state that's I guess you could say not really a toss-up, but it could be a potential sleeper. It's the great state of New Mexico. And there's really one bellwether. It's Cibola County. This county is basically the closest thing to a bellwether you can get. I mean, you could say Sorco County. You could say it's more of a bellwether. But Cibola, I guess you would say, is more where Trump needs to improve upon big time to win the state. He needs to do a lot better in this more rural, exurban part of North New Mexico. This is the outskirts of Santa Fe and Albuquerque. He needs to do a lot better in these counties, and really this is more aligned to the part of the state that Trump has to win, or do better with to win the state. Like, yeah, he could do a little bit better in Donna Ana County, but it's not really a bellwether. But if he does win Cibola, I would not be surprised if he won McKinley, if he won... I shouldn't say win, but get very close in McKinley, Tos, Mora, etc. He may flip Guadalupe. And you see that it did swing heavily Republican, and the state did swing Republican. So it's kind of the closest thing to a bellwether. Again, this is not a perfect bellwether at all, but it's the closest you could get in New Mexico. The next state is of Arizona. It's Maricopa. I'm not going to play this game. It's Maricopa. Trump can lose Maricopa by around 60,000 votes or so and still win the state. And really, I think Maricopa is going to stay Republican. There is an off chance it does swing a little bit more Republican. Because if you take a look at exit polls from 2016 and 2018, Trump's approval rating in 2018 in Arizona was 50%. So right there, that pretty much guarantees Trump probably gets 49% of the vote. Right there alone. He gets 49%. And the past couple of months for party registration for Republicans in the state of Arizona, in particular Maricopa, has been very good. It's been net gains of Republicans. Like the past couple of days, it's a net gain of like 2,000, I think, in Arizona for GOP. So it's looking really good for Republicans in Arizona, and there's a good chance it becomes, I guess you could say, a titanium tilt. That's what Red Eagle would say about Wisconsin. So yeah, that is Arizona. That's Maricopa, no games. That's the closest thing to a bellwether. Now we got Nevada. There really isn't many counties here. But the closest you got to a bellwether is Washoe County. Trump lost it by 1.3%. Trump lost state by 2.4%. It's the closest thing you got to a bellwether. And really, whoever wins Washoe is pretty much going to win the state. Like, Trump, for him to win the state of Nevada, he needs to max out the rural part of the state, make some gains in Clark, do a little bit better in Carson City, Story, Lyon, Douglas, and he has to flip Washoe, right? And that'll just be enough. And again, if he does win Washoe, that means he's doing a lot better in the rural part of the state. He made massive improvements. He's doing a lot better in Carson City and Story County. And he may do a little bit better in Clark County in that case. He may do like 10,000 votes better. And that'll just be enough mathematically to get him over the edge. But with the mail-in voting, it's kind of hard to tell which way Nevada's going to go. I think it's going to go to Biden, but who knows. Now is the state of Colorado. I'm telling people this is going to be a sleeper state to be really close. It's going to be the Minnesota of this election. It's going to be extremely close, and nobody is going to see it coming. Alright? Now, there's only one bellwether that makes sense. Laramie County. Trump lost it by 4.9. Trump lost the state by 4.9. So it lines up spot on with the state. And this is really, again, I made a video on Colorado. Laramie County is basically the closest thing you could get to showing how well candidates doing here. This kind of has everything in it. It has a little bit of suburbs, has a little bit of urban with Fort Collins, has a little bit of rural like Jackson County and Morford. And really, this has everything. And if Trump does flip this county, you could see him doing a lot better in Pueblo, Teller County, probably flip Summit and Clear Creek and Gillipan. And it's just enough to flip the state. But again, it's a county that is trending a little bit Republican, and the state is slowly trending Democrat. But that may be offset if Trump does make a huge gain with Hispanics in the state of Colorado, and there's a decent amount of Hispanics in Laramie County. Not a lot, but there's a little bit. So yeah, this is Colorado. This is a state where I'm telling people it's going to be within 3 or 4. It's going to be a lot closer than people are really going to think. So now we're getting to the Rust Belt. This is where the election's going to be won or lost. In Minnesota, there's two counties that are the bellwethers: Carlton and Washington. Washington is the suburbs of Minneapolis. Now, this isn't your regular suburbs in the Rust Belt. This is basically LA type suburbs, right? Or New York, I should say. They are not your regular suburbs you see in, like, Milwaukee suburbs. These are straight up big city suburbs. Alright, you would, like, see in New York City. Now, I don't think Trump can win Washington, but if he could just do a little bit better in, which I think he will, especially with the riots there, he will for sure do better in places like Dakota and a little bit better in Ramsey. Now, again, they did swing a little bit Democrat, but again, Trump just needs to improve a little bit here in these three counties, and that's be signified if Trump does a little bit better in Washington. Alright, if he does flip it, he still has a little bit more work to do. That's where Carlton County comes in. Carlton County is part of the Iron Range. And you might be asking yourself, why isn't Lake County the bellwether? Well, Carlton aligns more with how the election came out with. And really, if he wins Carlton County, he's going to win Lake County, and he may win St. Louis. Alright, and with the numbers he would improve in the suburbs of Minneapolis, it would just be enough. Now again, Carlton and Washington are going to be the counties that determine this election. Alright? Carlton represents the Iron Range. Washington represents the suburbs of Minneapolis. Alright? And you could also say Olmsted is a bellwether. I really don't think so. Trump is probably going to win it, but it's probably not going to be enough to flip the state. Just that alone. So yeah. That is Minnesota, another quick state. Now we got Wisconsin, Kenosha. That's all I'm going to say. He's going to win Kenosha, alright? He's going to win it by probably 0.5%, maybe a 0.75%. He's going to do a little bit better, if not a lot better, in Kenosha, especially with the riots there. With the law and order message, I'm telling you this for a fact, that's going to help him big time in Kenosha. So yeah, I think Trump wins Kenosha maybe by even a point. And that could see the state of Wisconsin going to him by 1.5 points. Because that would also signify he would do a lot better in the WOW counties. Do a lot better in more of the eastern part of the state in general. And maybe could flip one of these light blue counties in Portage, La Crosse, Eau Claire. And that cancels out everything he could lose down here. So yeah, that is the state of Wisconsin. Again, these are not the most surprising states for bellwethers. Kenosha's obvious. It's always been a bellwether. Now we got Michigan. This is a state that really, you could talk to Red Eagle about it, but my opinion is the bellwether is Saginaw County. Alright? I forgot what Red Eagle said his bellwether is, but this is what I believe the bellwether is for Michigan. Trump won it by a point in 1.2%. He won the state by 0.3%. It's basically spot on, and really it indicates how well Trump is doing, and more so this part of the state. This part of the state that he needs to do well in to win the state. Alright? You could say Macomb, but really, no. It's not really a bellwether. I think Trump still wins it by the same margin. So yeah. Saginaw County is basically the closest thing to a bellwether in the state of Michigan, in my opinion. I forgot what Red Eagle said, excuse my language, but I think personally that's the bellwether. And again, if he wins that county, he probably wins the state. Alright, so now we got Pennsylvania. There is one bellwether that is of Erie County, the county that is going to determine whoever wins Pennsylvania. Personally, this is a county where I think Trump's going to improve in. Right? You take a look at the voter models, right, of the absentee models, of just in general these voting models in Pennsylvania. Trump's expected to win the state by 250,000 votes. That's not happening. I think it's closer, maybe 150,000, but it's all going to come down to pretty much whoever wins Erie, right? And if Trump wins Erie by a larger margin, watch out, you may see Bucks County flip. If he wins Erie County by a larger margin, by like 2 percentage points better, he will flip Bucks County at that point. But I don't know how much he's going to improve by, if he will improve at all. I think he will still win Erie County, and he'll just do enough to win the state no matter what, I think. So that is Pennsylvania. Again, those 4 states, those really are obvious bellwethers in those 4 states. You could argue to me about Pennsylvania and Michigan's bellwethers, but enough said. Now we got 2 more states. The state of New Hampshire. Now, this bellwether is an interesting one. This is Merrimack County. Now, Trump lost the county by 3 percentage points, right? He lost the state by 0.3%. Why am I having this as the bellwether? Easy. He lost the state by around 3,000 votes. He lost the county by around 3,000 votes. You could say 2,500. Close enough. All right. So if Trump can improve just ever so slightly in Merrimack County, all right, and especially with the colleges out, he can flip Merrimack County and just do a little bit better in places like Hillsborough, Rockingham, and Sullivan. If he just squeezes out a tiny bit more votes out of these counties and possibly flips Merrimack, he's going to win the state of New Hampshire, alright? This is the closest thing to a bellwether, votes-wise. He wins the county, he pretty much wins the state, alright? That's pretty much it. Now we got Maine. This really isn't, I don't think Maine at large is really that competitive. But the real bellwether is Lincoln County. He lost the county by 2.4%. He lost the state by 2.9%. That's close enough to a bellwether, and if Trump can somehow flip Lincoln, which I highly doubt, that would signify he would do a lot better in these more, I guess, exuberant parts of Portland and exuberant parts of Bangor. This would signify he probably flips a couple more, like he flips Lincoln, he would probably flip Saguache, Knox County, maybe. That might be a little bit of a stretch, but you get the point. He probably flips Waldo at that point, and that would probably be enough to flip the state of Maine. But again, I highly doubt that Maine flips this time around. I think it's a bit more redder. I could see Trump do a lot better Hancock and Cumberland County. I think he's going to improve by 2 points here, probably 5 points in Hancock, or 4 points. But yeah. So this is the bellwethers for this election. Now, I want to leave off of course, the bellwether that predicts every presidential election. Vigo County, right there. Trump won it by 15 percentage points. Now, if you don't know Vigo County, pretty much whoever wins Vigo County pretty much wins the election. It's been wrong only like twice in like 150 years. And I highly doubt Trump loses Vigo County. So yeah, this is the bellwethers for this election. The bellwethers in old, I guess you could say, close to competitive states or pure toss-ups. Now again, some of these states like Texas, Colorado, New Mexico, Maine are not really toss-ups. I just added them because they're close enough to be competitive. Alright? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was the one I wanted to do for a little while now, and I finally got time to do it. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. And if you guys did, hit the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.